Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I want to talk about the new Inzektor card support, the Zektrike card, because we're really close to an update for Master Duel, and hopefully the Inzektor cards will be in here. But nonetheless, this is an archetype that I'm very familiar with. Now, if you guys are wondering, like, is the deck actually good? Because I actually haven't covered the new Inzektor support when it did get announced. I thought it was like kind of meh, but what you can actually do is mix it in with B-Trooper support, and it actually makes it quite great. So I haven't covered it in a while, so I'm going to consider it like the new Inzektors, even though this card technically got announced a little bit while back. I'm going to consider it new Inzektors because I haven't seen this particular combo in a while, and my friend Progenitor hooked me up with some really good gameplay. The first gameplay you guys are going to see is like, what can the deck do turn one? Can you open up with enough negations to make your opponent want to go ahead and click on the X on the top of the screen? And the answer is yes, because I feel like, and I've been mentioning it several different times, Yu-Gi-Oh decks that want to be competitive need to be able to open up turn one to the point where your opponent does not get to Yu-Gi-Oh. Otherwise, you might as well play other Yu-Gi-Oh decks. For competitive high level. So like, is Inzektors going to be a high level meta Yu-Gi-Oh deck? I would say yes, especially with the newer support. The Zektrike is such an insane card. Like I said, the first gameplay you guys are going to see is kind of like wombo combo, like the person basically doesn't get to play. Although they do happen to open up with a card that does deal with this, because this card is obviously one of the best cards to make. But I will also show it kind of climbing back from a position of not having board control or presence up on the board. And as far as I'm aware of, the hopper trick is an OCG thing, so it will be even better if it does go into Master Duel with the OCG ruling of hopper. The OCG ruling of hopper was that you could originally, I don't know if this has actually changed because I haven't been keeping up with the OCG rules, but originally TCG was like, no, we can't have this, but sometimes in different tournaments they were ruling it differently, as in you could or could not use Hopper's effect turn one, which allows the Inzektor to attack directly. Now in this instance we had 3 negates on Appaloosa. This is also an extra negation over there. Technically this card is also another form of disruption, attribute an insect monster if an insect monster is no more supposed to come to your field. Oh dang, well this card is another negation over here. When a monster your opponent controls activates its effect. So basically you had 3, this would be 4, and then this would be 5, and then this card is pretty powerful on its own as well, because it is basically a boss monster on its own. So you have like a lot of disruptions plus like a super boss monster, but the guy just said GG. Like I said, I'll show you guys multiple duels over here to show you guys how powerful it is. It's also using one of the newer cards, Wandering Griffin Rider, which I had not covered when I previously showed off the Inzektors, because again, this one's kind of like a newer build of the deck. So this is Draco back, the rideable dragon. So you equip it to a monster you control. You can only control one of them. You can only use each effect once per turn, but while this card is equipped to a non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls and bounce it back to the hand. But if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a adventurer token you control and equip it to that target. So this is also using some of the adventurer tokens. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen the new Enchantress, the ones that do give you those extra additional adventurer tokens. Is like a kind of a splashable archetype, I would say, in here. And this guy's actually playing one of those Sea Stealth Attack, the Phantasm City deck. This deck is actually not so bad, but again, I'll show you guys multiple duels against different varieties of duels over here. But really what it comes down to and what makes the deck so good is really that new support card, which I'm actually gonna see right here. All right, here we go. So the Zektrike is always treated as an Inzektor card. You get to send another Inzektor card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard. Then you get to choose which effect that you want. You get to choose an Inzektor monster from your deck, either special summon it or equip one Inzektor monster equip to an Inzektor you control, or you get to equip one Inzektor equip spell from your deck to one Inzektor monster you control. Now, when I played Inzektors, you could OTK with pretty much just the sword and dragonfly. That was like a very common combo that you can pull off, or you can even splash in the cricket. But this card over here, great stuff indeed. The monster's original attack becomes a lot higher, so you can actually go for the OTKs. But nowadays with Yu-Gi-Oh, going for high damage isn't usually what you want to go for turn one, but giving the option to OTK is always good. And being able to pop all of these cards, so he's going to be able to get the effect of passivism again and again, but it's not going to really matter at the end of the day anyways, because he can just pop the Sea Stealth Attack, but that card does protect it, but you still need to go ahead and cycle through your cards. Livier is going to bring back the Dragonfly. If you guys have played Inzektors back in the day, that was a very common play. So Unicorn will actually use this effect and put it right back, and then you can also make Access Code Talker. This is going to show you guys that you can OTK with this deck quite easily as well, as giving access to Code Talker is very good. Now we're seeing a duel up against Invoked, and now they are going to be going first, and they've also got Ash Blossom, so you guys are going to see it play kind of out of what I would consider the person having kind of more of an advantage. So, monster special summon from the extract, you can special summon this card from your hand, but on top of that, as long as you control another Dogmatica monster, you can negate the effects of one face-up monster on the field. So that's another little bonus over there. But our Inzektor is going to need the extract? Not necessarily. I mean, they can definitely benefit off of it, specifically because of Leviair. And back in the day, you'd actually go for number 17 for just literally for the detach to get some of the OTKs in. But now we have the armored Horn over here. So this is a B-Trooper card. This is why it is so good. And also, B-Troopers are a TCG exclusive. So it's going to be weird to see if Master Duel, with the update, adds the cards like the Zektrike and then also puts in the TCG exclusive, the B-Trooper. I'm really curious to see if they do add that. But nonetheless, it's during your main phase. After this effect resolves, you get to normal summon an additional monster, which lets you, again, just combo off really, really hard. So Hopper is going to equip another card over there. But the thing that I was talking about earlier was that you can't technically attack your opponent at turn 1, but some games or some tournaments were ruling that you could use it turn 1, some you can't. So that's going to be interesting to see if they actually do that. But there's playing out of obviously the Ash Blossom. The guy has a Alistair, and then once again just going to go ahead and get rid of that and just clean up the floor. I saved the best for the last for you guys, so let's check out the last replay over here. So we see them playing up against mutants, but like I said before, like the turn 1 play is so good to the point where, like, yeah, you can beat your opponent. Can it play out of hand traps? Probably like maybe 2-ish. It depends on your hand also. But like if your opponent sets up a bunch of negations, there's nothing inherently in the deck that just says, oh, if your opponent, like, you know, has something, you just can completely ignore it. In the archetype, specifically for that. I mean, you could run cards like Dark Ruler No More if you would like to. Still definitely a viable option. So the mutants, this deck kind of got phased out, but you can see them also having Called by the Grave, so I'm showing you kind of playing through at least one disruption over here. So we see Dragonfly. Dragonfly is going to go for that effect. He's going to add the extra card, get that effect. That is going to be activating in response to it. And then we also see the Wandering Griffin Rider. So unfortunately, no play turn 1 because of the stopping of the Dragonfly popping off. So you're going to see it more of a longer game where he makes it Dingirsu. He's going to send that target to the grave, go get some damage in, and he still has a Call by the Grave, which this is pretty big for Inzektors, especially depending on the ban list. You know, obviously you get rid of that one Hornet, and it's a game over, right? Or that one maybe Dragonfly. But now we're going to see Ladybug get that effect, but he's going to go ahead and get rid of Ladybug, so he's going to increase level by 1 over there. But he did banish the other Ladybug, so unfortunately no other bonuses, but the Hornet is still there, so that's going to pop that card. That's going to get out Centipede. Centipede going to start re-equipping Hornet, and you can still see kind of the power of Inzektors. That card will be stopped over there, but he's also going to be activating Mutant Cry. Going to special summon a Mutant Fusion monster, and then go right into Picophyllania. This is almost like their little pot of avarice. He's going to respond to that, so he's getting a lot of stuff negated over here, but he's still going to be able to play through it. Zektrike over here coming out, and this is the power of just that one extra card that you have at your disposal. That's why you're able to play through like 1-ish hand trap, depending on your hand, but he's going to go ahead and protect, because that's what Dingirsu likes to do. Armored Horn is coming out one more time, and then he's going to get that additional summon. Like, even though Dragonfly is like a once per turn, it's not a hard once per turn. That's why Inzektors, it's kind of like just like the older Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that they weren't like limiting themselves to like a once per turn thing. So that's why this deck is still like really good. I mean, you have the options to pop a bunch of stuff, and obviously you can go for a lot of weird stuff. In fact, if you do run, most people are going to be running at least one Ladybug. So the options just to go for even some rank 5s, rank 4s do exist in the Inzektor archetype. There's also Oliveira over here, which is actually pretty good. You can send a Fire Warrior or an equip spell from your hand, and then you special summon it just for extra link plays over there. So I know that you guys have seen the gameplay. I want to give you guys the deck profile. Big shout out to the Progenitor for hooking me up with this. So in terms of like what's new here, like I said before, these are some of like the newer B-Trooper cards. So we do happen to have like Sting Lancer, we have the Scale Bomber, as well as the Flying Sting. So these are the cards that, well, technically all the B-Trooper cards are pretty important here, but this is also mixing in some of the tokens here with the Water Enchantress. So I'm just going to mouse over this really quick, but if you guys do want the one-click download, feel free to go and do so. It will be in the Discord. So I'm just going to mouse over them just in case any of you guys playing other things, but Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell so you don't miss out on maybe more builds of Inzektors when we get maybe more support in the future. But take care. I'll see you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.